you're the number one contender for like years. Like you were like, it was like GSP and you. It was like, for like, there was no room for anybody else. It was like y'all two. So it's like, you never know what's going to happen. You know?
At one point I was 13-1 in the UFC and my only loss was the GSP. So
crazy, man.
But yeah. But the UFC couldn't figure out a way to sell me. I was on Dana's bad side after my Shoney Carter fight. When I fought Shoney Carter, it was my first like real big fight. He came to that fight to watch Shoney win. He came to watch Shoney knock me out, and then he was going to re-sign Shoney and bring him back to the UFC. But then I completely ragdolled Shoney, and Dana was pissed.
So that wasn't at the UFC though. That wasn't at the UFC because he went to recruit him, because I remember.
No, that was a Shudo. He was there though. He went to that Shudo event to watch, and I talked to somebody who was there with him and sitting in the area with him, and like he was not a fan of me. He was upset.
I remember that was the one where you came back in between the rounds and you said, "Do you think he's really fighting, or do you think he's just messing with me?" Like you didn't believe he was actually fighting.
I couldn't believe that I was doing what I was doing. I thought this is not real. Like I was like,
because you were just slinging him all over the place.
Oh yeah, he threw up hot dogs in the ring. He tapped, rolled over, and threw up.
But it shows you the grind, bro. Like, because you went in there and you obviously, I don't know what the situation was with that fight with Dana and everything, but you had dark fights and you had to fight 4 or 5, maybe 6. I don't know how many fights completely dark. So back then, dark fights meant that like nobody saw them. They were prelims. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have like the internet fights. So just nobody saw them unless they put them on the DVD or on the whatever else. And you just kept grinding, kept winning fights, and you started winning. Yeah. The last couple dark fights were tough fights. The fighters went on to be tough fighters.
Well, there was some late ones that they were punishment type ones. We had the video game altercation where I didn't want to sign away my image and likeness away for no money. Like they fired me and then it brought me back, and then they put me on an undercard against like Gono, Akihiro Gono, who's like super tough. He'd been fighting since like '97, and man, he's got a bunch of like cool like knockout spinning shit knockouts, and he's just a tough dude. He's been around for a long time. Yeah. It's like they buried that one on purpose. They were slapping me on the wrist for talking back.